All right. Next, we have up Dr. Kevin Elder. I am super excited about this. Uh, oh, and he's wearing his map shirt.
Good morning,
Love
everybody.
it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
So, Doc Kevin Elder has been teaching, I think I read 30 years, which I don't believe, but 30
This is my
years.
this is my 32nd.
Oh my goodness. And has just been such a leader in the local Atlanta community with doing some Biz for Social Good hackathons. I mean, he's taught it from his bio, it looks like he's taught every course under the sun, from business admin to information systems. Um, and just has, and you're also a scrum master. Like, you got a pretty deep and wide bio there, Doc Elder. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to you because you have a lot to cover and I don't want to waste any more time.
All right, thank you. I put the Fringe in Fringe Festival. If you guys are coming for all those Tableau tips and woo, do this, do that, that's not me. I've been doing this, as Emily said, for a long time, and I am colorblind. And every time I see people talk about colorblind, it's don't use red and green, don't put them next to each other. I cringe. I want to step in, give a long lecture. So now when I'm on Twitter, when this recording goes up, I can just, when people say something, no, that's not right, I can say, here, go to the Fringe Fest, watch my video, and I'll try and cover as much as I can. So I'm going to try and fly through as much material as I can. On my last slide, I'll show you where you can get all 208 of my slides that I have for you this morning. And you can go through it slower and take a look at it as you want to. I also, because Andy likes to do magic tricks, I thought I'll leave my video on, I'll do a magic trick for you. What color is the fan that you see me holding? Hopefully you all say that's red. Maybe some of you might say it's pink because my lighting is strange. And I'll say again, what color is that fan? Was it red? Is it yellow? What are you seeing? Maybe everybody is a little bit colorblind. Are you seeing blue? Are you seeing red? Are you seeing yellow? Maybe you're seeing all of them, because my theory is that we are all a little bit colorblind and we all need some help here. Let's see. Now I want to go to my PowerPoint and get off of me so you don't have to look at my shirt anymore, but we'll come back to it because it will be a little bit later in my presentation. So again, I wanted to come this morning, like I do all the time, and give you some color advice from the colorblind, because we do see red and green. And I really prefer the term color deficient, but colorblind is what most people think of. So we'll just leave it at colorblind for most of the talk, but I think we're all kind of color deficient. And so I wanted to show you some of the science behind it, some of the ways we can test, but most of all, I want to show you how it affects everybody, not just those of us that are marked with this disability to say we're colorblind. My theory, and I've been trying to test this for many years now, collecting data to show just about everybody has a different color deficiency. Some of us are just much worse than others. So let's see, let me get out of this mode. Let's just go full screen. Okay, that's better. All right, so when you're creating your data visualization, you've got numbers on there. And so you're doing calculations, and sometimes you're forcing us to do calculations, to measure, to look at those negative, those positive, whatnot. And as Paul was showing, we can do things to help you really see those key calculations. We're putting letters and words on there, which means we've got to know some languages, and we've got to be able to do some translations. You're putting shapes on there, so we're trying to see what those shapes are, how you put them into context, and then you're always using color, and we expect folks to see things the way we do. We expect things to work the way we do, and they don't always do that. So again, color blindness, it's a defect in your eye itself, where your eye cannot see colors the way everybody else can. If you can't see green very well, then green is kind of diminished when you're looking at it. But also notice how the red doesn't look quite so good when you have a weak green cone. When you have a weak red cone, again, the red is where you're having trouble seeing it as clearly, but also the green is affected when you have a red deficiency. Again, lots of different factors go into this, even age. As you get older, you will start, if you have some symptoms of color blindness, they will get more and more prevalent. So again, I got the slides in here. If you guys want to click through, you can see these are genes. It's in your DNA. You're not getting it from the environment. It's passed down. And even how it's passed down, some people are arguing it some. But basically, my grandfather was colorblind, and my grandmother used to set out all of his clothes so that he would not wear stuff that clashed and whatnot. My mom then was the carrier. Her father was colorblind, and she passed it to all four of her sons, me and my three brothers. We all have it to varying degrees. And my daughter, she should be carrying it on to her sons if she has sons. And that's how most of it goes. But there are females that are colorblind because, in fact, my daughter is colorblind, but just a little bit. And so she's always been frustrated. Oh, Dad's colorblind. We'll get in these glasses. Well, these glasses can only help for one particular color blindness. They can't help for all of them. And for me, they can't help at all. And we'll see why as we go along. So again, there's not much you can do about it. Are you colorblind? No, or no, but in red. Just a little humor there for you. Is anybody colorblind? Let's take a look and see. Are you guys colorblind? So let me go over to the chat here and get to the latest chat down at the bottom. What color are all those balls? We got green, we got blue, we got red, all kinds of different colors on those different balls on the screen. Is there yellow? No, no, they're not yellow. Are they gold? No, no. All the balls on that screen are all brown. Every single one of those balls is brown. And that color going across it is making you think, oh, it's that color. So again, depending on your color blindness, you can see it a little bit better than others. And I believe, again, everybody has some form of color blindness. Okay, here's one for you. Everybody go, woohoo, there's that dress again. Oh no. Is it black and blue or is it white and gold? This caused an internet meltdown a few years ago as everybody was having this argument, whether it's black and blue and white and gold. And as it was going on, I'm like, please let me do my colorblind lecture. Listen to me. It all depended on what was around this image when you first saw it. When you first saw this image, if there was a lot of light, like you had a white background around it, or it was daylight and you weren't really seeing the colors very clearly on your screen, you thought, like Lindsay, it's white and gold. If you had a dark background and you were in a dark room or a dark background around the image, you were like Rodrigo and you said it was black and blue. And if you guys get together, you would have this argument. But again, science tells us here's how much red, green, and blue is in there. And everybody is seeing the exact same color. And in fact, it is black and blue. It is black and blue. We know that for a fact. But again, it was that first time you saw it. And you've got that image in your head. And so every time you see it after that, you keep thinking it's white and gold, not blue and black. When we show you, obviously this is black and blue, you're like, no, go back to the first image. When I look at that first image, it's still white and gold to me. And so it's how your brain is processing with those colors and how the colors around it are affecting you. Here's another one of my favorite ones to show is color constancy. All right, so we've got a brown dot on the top of my 5x5 Rubik's Cube here, and we have a yellow or orange, right? Is that what you guys are seeing? Do you see a brown on the top and you see a white or not a light, orangish color? Maybe you're seeing yellow. But they're definitely not the same color, right? Well, sorry, they are the exact same color. And it's just what's around that color is fooling you who are trying to process what these colors are, because we get our colors from light and the light that's around it. So colors are affected by the other colors that are around there. So again, how can we test this? So we could test this morning to see how you guys do. We create these bubble charts. You guys could create these in Tableau probably for me at some point, all you whizzes out there. We create these and we ask you, okay, what do you see? And so people who have normal vision will see 74. If any of you out there thought you saw 21, you may have more color blindness than you thought you had. And so how do we make these? We put a random set of one color, different phases. Then we put other colors on top of that. So that color is now down below. And then we can play with different colors and try and see which ones you can see and which ones you can't see. And so again, at this point, I want to stop and tell you the good part about color blindness or color deficiency is the computer works pretty much or very similar to the way we do. And in fact, you probably didn't realize this. You've never stopped to think about it. And so it's something I always like to try and point out. Your eye sees colors in red, green, and blue, RGB. Well, so do most of your monitors work through red, green, and blue. So we really shouldn't have that much trouble with color when it comes to our computers, because our computers can operate very similarly to how our eye operates. So again, we've got blue cones in our eye to see blue. We've got green cones in our eye to see green. We have red cones in our eye to see red. Mix those all together. That gives us white in the center. Mix them with each other with two or just the one. And that's how we come up with all these different colors. So again, in real life, what happens? This is what it's like to be red colorblind. Where is the red crayon? Is it upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right? Which one of those images has that red crayon that we're looking for? Is anybody colorblind and has learned to see that red crayon? Nope, nope, lower right, nope, that's not it. Again, you can play with these later on. I want to rush through them. It's the upper left. See the red crayon up there? That's where the red crayon is. So if I have problems with red and I've had to teach myself that was red up there, then I'm very helpful to you guys. Okay, so again, simple one. Everybody can see this. This is 12. Here's a little bit harder. Which one is this? Is it an 8? Rodrigo, some news for you. Everybody sees an 8. That's what you have if you have normal vision. If anybody out there saw a 3, you've got some color deficiency. How about this one? What do you guys see on this one? Lots of 29s, lots of 29s. Where are my folks with some color deficiency? If anybody thought when you first looked at it, is that 70? You may have some color deficiency when it comes to that color. So again, you couldn't even tell what it was. That one flashed by. I've got so many people without color blindness, all these people going, why should I have to worry about this? We can all see it. No, again, this one, if you have some color deficiency, you'll see a 2 there rather than the 5 that everybody else thought they saw. So again, I've got a ton of these. You can go through them. You can go through them with your kids, with your colleagues. You can play with this, see what is out there. I'm going to jump through these because I've got a ton of them. Even if you don't know your numbers and letters, there are lots of them where we can just say, okay, follow with your finger along where the snake is across the screen. And do you see it? Can you find it? And so you can test for all your different cones to see which ones you have a weakness to. And again, then we always have these really clear ones. Everybody can see this. Okay, now we start showing these. Oh, I'm having trouble seeing it. Oh, I can see it clearly. Clearly, no deficiency with that color. Yeah, I'm a little fuzzy in parts of it. You've got some deficiency to that color. If you go out and you search, do a Google search and say, I want to find a colorblind PowerPoint, hopefully mine will start popping up here eventually. You'll find some interesting things out there. Color blindness doesn't directly lower life expectancy. What? I never thought it did. But somebody is saying, no, if you can't tell the difference between red and green on a stoplight, then you're going to get killed in an accident. Please stop posting this stuff. Google, suppress fake news, please. This is fake. We can see the red and green. We can tell the difference between green at a traffic light. red with the traffic light. If nothing else, by where they're placed. It's those crazy people that change the stoplight. So the red is where the green usually is, and the green is where the red. That's where they might cause some accidents. All right. So again, we have folks that have a weakness seeing red or green. We have folks that cannot see red and cannot see green. And so these are the four main ones that most people talk about. Most people say, look, you got green and red, and you got to not put them next to each other. But in reality, you've got a combination of all of these things. Again, there's lots of articles. So if you guys really want to get into this, I've got some articles talking about color deficiency, what works, what doesn't work, how you can make them better. So again, just a quick, easy one here. If you have these small little dots and you've got really weak color combinations, it's hard to see those colors. So maybe even those of you who aren't colorblind, which color is this? Is this a gray? Is this a pink? Is this a brown? What colors are these? The closer you get to the screen, whatever, it allows you to see them more clearly. Just something as simple as making those dots bigger and clearer, even with a bad color combination, we can still start making out, even those of us that are colorblind, the gray to the red to the pink to the blue, just by doing some simple tricks. So again, there's lots of articles out there if anybody wants to look at them. I've tried to show them to you, but let me also add in with this slide, it's also blue deficiency, and it's so rare everybody ignores it, but we can also have some deficiencies with blue that can really throw people off quite a bit as well. So you can be totally colorblind for that color. You can be weak in that color, which is my theory. Most of us are weak somewhere along that color spectrum. And so again, why should I bother? It's such a small group of people, 8%, 10%, whatever people want to say. But if you make it so colorblind folks have an easier time looking at your visualization, so will everyone else, because everyone else who sees color will benefit from those who can't, helping them out. So again, supposing is good, but finding out is better. So again, not going to shatter uh, anything here by saying, hey, um, it's light that causes us to see color, right? If it's totally dark out, there is no color, because we need the light to hit on things for our eyes and the cones in our eyes to actually see those colors coming out. So again, not to get overly sciencey with you, but if you want to, I've got the slides, you can dig into them. But we've got red cones in our eyes, we have green cones, and we have blue cones. And we've got primarily red cones, very few blue cones. And so thus that blue color blindness is not as prevalent as red or green. So here's what a normal eye would look like, with lots of green cones, lots of red cones, I mean, some green cones, not as many blue cones. And as a result, that's where we start having deficiency. Oh, but let me tell you about me. I'm totally colorblind. So I don't have any cones to see any colors. So I've had to teach myself all of these colors and what they are. And sometimes I get them wrong, sometimes I get them right. But after teaching this for 32 years, I'm pretty good at walking people through. Yeah, it's a mutation, it's a gene. But what happens when you're looking at the eye is this is kind of how your cones are. The blues are kind of off to the side, reds and greens kind of overlap, and it allows you to see red, green, and blue, and all the combinations to let those colors go quick too. Somebody needs to mute their microphone out there. I'm getting feedback from someone. So when green shifts towards red, then you start having trouble with your green. When there are no green cones, you have lots of trouble with green. When the red shifts towards the green, you're having a little bit of trouble with the red. When you have no red cones, you're having a lot of trouble with red. And again, I don't know if everybody's hearing it, but I'm hearing somebody besides me, which turns me into an absent-minded professor. Okay, so lots of science to it. Bottom line is, again, most people look at this and they see 8% of the population has red and green, so all I got to do is worry about red and green. Wrong answer. Some of them have trouble with blue. And then again, I'm the rare guys down there. The cones and the rods just don't work in my eyes. And so I've got to have a lot of help with it. But again, my theory is if you make it so I can see them clearly, then everybody else is going to be able to see them clearly as well. So again, lots of stuff for you guys later on to go back and read. Just wanted to put all this material together in a place where you can see it. And so again, when people talk about color blindness, they like to say, here's red and green, and that's what we got to worry about. And hopefully after today, you'll go, no, it's a lot more than that. It's also blue, and it's those poor guys like old Doc Elder who can't see any of it, and we've got to help them out. So here's a really good set of dishes to kind of look and see the 6, 7, 8, 9 ways that people have trouble seeing colors. Can you guys see those colors clearly? The 6, the 3, the 5, the 9, the 5, the 8, the 5, the 9, the 10. Any of them that you struggle with, then you may not have as many cones in your eye as you thought you did. You may have a little bit of color blindness. So again, we can play with these. We can change the hue. We can change the intensity of the colors, and we can really kind of get in depth which one of those are you having trouble with. And so again, those are there for you to play with and look at. But again, here's just a common everyday occurrence. My mom loved her steak very rare. In fact, we used to joke, Mom wants the steak still mooing. Whereas my dad out on that barbecue wants to turn that steak on the outside totally black. And so it's really cooked well done. So in looking at these pictures with that poor colorblind person looking at them, which one is the rare and which one is well done? And there are two that are kind of in the middle. Can anybody pick out without having your red cones working very well, or even your green cones aren't working too well? And I'm not even doing this monochrome like me. Anybody got it? Anybody got it? Most of you are saying 4 is the rare. Some of you are saying 1 is the rare. Actually, the 4 is the well done down there, and the rare is the 3 over there. And that's the way you guys would see them. But us poor colorblind folks, we have some trouble. And you think, wait a minute, why is this important in my data viz? Well, again, it's just how people will see things. So again, here's a chemist in the lab. Oh, hand me the pink. Or you're at the dining room table, pass the pink lemonade. Which one is the pink lemonade? Because now you're seeing what it's like to be colorblind. And we're like, wait a minute, which one is the pink? Which one is not the pink? Somebody says they're all clear. No, there's actually some color there. Again, it's a very weak color, but it's there just to kind of give you an idea of what it's like to be colorblind. And so far, nope, no one's got it. No one's got it. Nobody has it yet. We don't have time. There it is. It's number 1 up there is the pink lemonade. It's the chemical that has pink in it. But again, if they're so similar to each other, you might think you might have some color blindness. So again, here's my little joke. Are you colorblind? Use these 2 colors. If you're green colorblind, look and see. You still see those colors. So those 2 color combinations for the folks that don't see greens work very well because they're on different ends of it. Here's one of my favorite ones that I've been fighting against forever. Here I am looking at colorblind links through Google. And what happens when you use the default colors in your default browser to surf the internet? The links will come up and they will be blue because you haven't visited them yet. And then once you visit them, what color do we turn them to? They're blue to begin with. Do we turn them to orange or yellow or something that would really be a huge departure from the blue? You haven't visited them? No, we turn them to purple, blue and purple. Blue and purple are bad colors to use next to each other for the majority of people that are colorblind, because blue to purple, you're changing the amount of red that's mixed in with the blue. And just about any form of color blindness, when you're trying to vary a color inside of a color, it's hard for us to see. That's what you saw in all those plates. So which one of these is blue? And I haven't visited them yet. Is it the top two? The Is it Nature? Is it JSTOR? Is it NCBI, or is it the top one? One of those I haven't visited yet. And poor me, I'm looking at the screen and I really can't see which one it is. But I've done this talk a bunch, so I know it's the Nature one. Very good, very good. So Joe got it. He could see. He could detect his blue and his purple. But again, when I flash things across to people, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. All right, here's another one of my favorite ones for all you football fans out there. A few years ago, the NFL moved games to Thursday night, and to try and get people to watch the NFL on Thursday night, they thought, hey, we'll create color rush jerseys where the team is wearing totally one color of jersey, and they even make them bright. Here's a bright red, here's a bright green, here's the Rams in a bright yellow, just ugly looking uniforms, I think, even for those of you who see color. And one night we had the Buffalo Bills playing the New York Jets. And oh my goodness, the colorblind people must be banging their head on the table. And I'm screaming at my television. I'm screaming for weeks later. No, 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 this is not how it works. So here was the game, and here's those awful color rush jerseys. If you ask me, these are awful. So here are the Jets, and they're all green. Here are the Bills, and they all red. And so again, everybody that knows a little bit about colorblind goes, "Oh my God, red and green, we can't tell the difference. This is a problem." Not really. But somebody went out and made a video of this and altered it so everybody was in kind of a greenish jersey. And oh my gosh, this is what it's like for colorblind people. Can't tell the Bills from the Jets. This must be a nightmare. And again, I'm like, no, 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 this is not how it works, guys. Please read up on this. Ask a colorblind person if this is how it worked, and you would find out it wasn't. But then there was a great tweet that somebody said, so they're like, oh, if you're colorblind, you can't tell the difference. And then somebody tweeted, well, it's the Bills and the Jets, so you enjoy it best by being completely blind. You don't even see it. So I thought that was really funny. Maybe you don't. So again, here's that same shot of the Bills and the Jets. If I've got weak red cones, can I tell the difference? Yes, I can tell the difference. Not a problem. I've got a weak green cone. Can I tell the difference? Yes, I can tell the difference. They got a weak blue cone. Yep, can tell the difference. Don't have any red cones in my eye at all. I can still tell the difference. That red, even without red cones to cue me that it's red, I can teach myself, okay, that's how I see red. And there's green over there. Green, no green cones. I still sort of see that color over there. It's not green, but it's a color I tell myself is green. And I'm able to teach myself red from green. And by the way, down at the bottom there, I'll have it at the end of the presentation as well, which I'm rapidly running out of time. I'm already 2/3 of the way through. I don't know what slide I'm on, but I got a long ways to go. This is one of the best simulators. You can take any image, plug it in here, and see what it's like for all 8, yes, all 8 forms of color blindness versus what it's like for normal folks. So again, now you're into my world. Now you're probably looking at it and going, how can Doc Elder tell the difference? Well, I can. I can see that that's red. I can see that that's green. I've taught myself that. I know that that's blue on Buffalo's helmet. I know those are blue stripes. And so I've had to learn my colors by people telling me that, and then getting my eyes to say, okay, that's red, that's green, that's blue. So again, here's my map shirt, which I have a lot of fun with my global class where we study all these countries. But for colorblind folks, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? What are those colors? What do they look like? Again, without blue cones, look what happens to our blue shirt. It's not blue anymore. We've lost it. And poor old me out there just seeing shades of gray. This is how I'm trying to process all those colors on that shirt and learn that's green, that's orange, that's yellow, that's blue. Teaching myself how to do that. All the Home Depot folks, close your eyes, don't watch for a couple minutes here. Here's Home Depot's website. Ugh, it doesn't look so good to the colorblind, does it? Home Depot loves that orange. They use it everywhere. But if you can't see your greens, if you have trouble seeing your reds, that beautiful Home Depot orange is not so beautiful. If you can't see the blues, look what it does to that orange. Don't think that's what Home Depot wants us to see. And again, if you're me, I'm seeing it all in shades of gray. So your orange is going to be lost on me anyway. But again, not a huge part of the population, but a lot of you lean this direction. Take a look at Amazon. Have trouble with green? Looks pretty similar. Have trouble with red? Looks pretty similar. You have trouble with blue? Looks pretty similar. Again, the worst guy out there, I can still see those colors pretty easily. I am positive Amazon has colorblind folks that they went through and discussed and worked with, because their website works for almost all of us pretty easily. Here's Facebook. Facebook loves the blue, likes to stay with that strong blue, and look what happens. Red, green, blue. Oh, we lost the blue. And then poor old me, there is no color. But again, Facebook does this specifically. And I've got some links down here if you guys want to see all the celebrities who are colorblind. And Mark Zuckerberg is colorblind, and so he wants that really strong blue everywhere because he can see that really well, and hence Facebook is blue everywhere with a good contrasting color that allows those of us who are colorblind to see it pretty easily. Again, here's our Data Viz Society. If you guys have not joined the Data Viz Society, where are you and what have you been doing recently? You should get out there and join the Data Viz Society. And so here are the colors that they use in their badge for everybody. And so if you got some green color blindness, not so bad. Got some red color blindness, still not so bad. Got blue color blindness, looks good. If you're me, not so much. But again, I've taught myself that this is the way it is. Green, yellow, pinkish. But again, to me, it's shades of gray. Again, I'm rare, but we're all kind of are hedging in that direction. Here's some of the folks in the community now. I'll switch to some of them and some of their examples. So Ken made an awesome color wheel out there for us in the past. But again, the color wheel is not how we process color, and it's also not how your computer generates color. So it's neat to look at the color wheel and find colors that are close to each other, far away from each other. But again, for folks that have red color blindness, it's hard for them to see that there's a little red here, a little more red, a little more red, more, tons of red, now less red, less red, less red. That's where people have a problem, not red and green. It's how much red have you put in there? And you're trying to tell me one is pink, one is red, one is orange. If I have trouble seeing reds because of a diminishing red cone supply, either through age or I was born with it, then you're causing problems for people looking at your data viz to see what you're trying to point out. So again, here you are with the most prevalent form, weak green cones, and our color wheel is just annihilated and not very useful for us. So again, here's some of my favorite ones that people will trot out. Don't use red and green. This is so bad for colorblind people to see. Well, let me show you. If I've got weak green cones, I can still pretty much see those variations. They're not red now, but I can still see them. Can't see red at all. I can still see the red. I could see the tones of the red, and it works pretty good. And then again, for me, I see all gray. But if you have some good, strong red variation, good, strong green variation, you can still pretty much see it. Then someone will trot along and go, here's the color set you should use. This is good for color blindness. I see this one, this pattern used quite a bit for folks saying, use this. You don't have red and green. This will be better for people that are colorblind. If I'm green colorblind, can I tell the difference in all those blues out there? Is Kentucky the same as Alabama? Is Kentucky the same as Idaho? Is Washington the same as Virginia? Is Washington the same as Georgia? Can't really see it very clearly with this awesome set of palettes that people have created and said this is good for the colorblind. My experience has been 9 times out of 10 when somebody says this is a colorblind set, it's not. And it won't work as well. And you probably were better off with what you had originally. Again, Tableau people, close your eyes. Here are lots of Tableau color palettes that we encourage folks to use. And when that biggest majority of folks who have trouble with green, traffic light is just not very good. Some of the previous ones, you're seeing, whoa, I can't tell the difference between a lot of these. They look really similar. And again, I could do that with all of them, but here's me looking at all these palettes and going, whoa, wait a minute, you want me to use these? I'm not so sure. I'm going to choose from these. So again, here they are blown up a little bit for you. The automatic ones, the Tableau 10, the Tableau 10 Light, the Tableau 10 Medium. But if I had that green weakness, again, that Tableau Light, when you go to pastels, pastels usually don't work very well. But even our default ones, kind of tough to tell the difference between some of these colors because the amount of red, the amount of blue, the amount of whatever that we're trying to use to tell the difference. And again, look at poor old me, really having a tough time seeing those colors that you're trying to do. And then, watch out. Here comes the ColorBlind 10. Use this palette and it's going to help folks that are colorblind. Well, here's what it looks like to the folks that are green colorblind, the largest set out there. Not too bad. But poor old me, I've got about 5 of those colors that all look the same to me in our colorblind palette of 10. We can do better than that. So there are tons of resources out there to try and tie this all together and finish off. There are lots of resources out there where you can go out and make custom palettes and you can choose the color you want and then you can run it through the 2 tools that I've been using. The one, you can bring the image in and see the image for different color blindness. The other is give me the URL when I'm showing you the Home Depot and Facebook. You can give the URL and you can look at your entire website or your entire screen rather than just taking an image in there. You can grab these and you can compare them and see, okay, what are the colors that somebody has green weakness for? Which of these colors should I pull out and use in my palette so that the majority of colorblind folks will have an easier time seeing it? If the colorblind folks have an easier time seeing it, then so will everybody else. You all benefit from helping us see them more clearly because you can see them more clearly yourself. So again, we can change the text colors, we can change the marks, we can do row shading, we can create our own palettes. We don't have to use these default ones that for some of us, they give us trouble. Here's a very common set of colors that are used when we've got 10 colors out there. But again, if you have that green cone weakness, look at how many of these are bleeding into each other. Hard to see the difference because again, you're trying to put some red into a color like that orange, the second one down, but yet, wow, if I don't see red very well, even if I'm green colorblind, it's difficult. And another trend I see, well, let's go to pastels. That'll be better. No, don't go to pastels. Pastels, you're taking the color out. And those of us that are colorblind, we try and use that color to identify things. So when you use less color in your color, it's harder for us to see. So I caution folks, pastels are not great. One of the textbook authors, or not textbook, but one of the book authors tweeted out in the last couple of months, hey, I'm trying to do a data viz and I've got 25 colors. Does somebody have a good color palette for 25 colors? No, please stop. Don't limit the number of colors you're putting in a data viz because even those of you who can see clearly, are these 2 entirely different colors? They don't look like it to me. There's a lot of colors on that 25 color palette that are hard to distinguish. And again, especially if you are totally colorblind like I am. So again, here's red and green. You're told don't use red and green, but we can see red and green. that this red and green, a strong red, even those who can't see green can tell the difference, even if they're sitting right next to each other. So here's a shout out to Viz Candy. Viz Candy was one of the farthest back I could find, and just kind of perusing through Tableau Public, where she talked about creating color palettes. So if you just go to Tableau Public, type creating color palettes or creating color or color palettes, you'll find tons of tutorials, tons of examples out there of folks. So again, Kelly's site I've got marked for you, this color palette workbook in particular, and she has a whole blog spot out there, tons of good stuff on there. Just hit color once, but did a nice job of talking about it, showing you how to go through and create color palettes, and then she showed everybody, here's some of her favorite ones, which are kind of cool. I like some of these, but for the colorblind, I like some of these better than others. So some of these are much better for a colorblind person to see than other ones are, even though they're all, to those of you who see color, ooh, I like Christmas, I like the beige, I like the green jeans, but for the colorblind people, probably not so much. Maybe I want to use some of these other ones. So again, everybody does this. Here's the United Nations. Here's a neat chart of all these things they're measuring, and look at all those colors down there. Even you guys that have had no trouble seeing the colors so far in the presentation, can you tell the difference in those colors on this map? Probably not. There's probably at least a half dozen of them that, wow, there's a difference there. That's not the same color. And so again, to the folks that are colorblind like me, it's all the same color all over the place, except for a few. For the sports fans out there, oh, we love to have our little spray charts, but when you throw green on top of brown, it goes yellow for some folks. It all looks similar to some of us, and just poor use of color and trying to show us things. Here's a really good chart over the Premier League for the soccer fans. Really cool. I bet those of you who see color really well love it. For those of us that have a weakness in some of these cones, doesn't work well. So again, here's a color palette. Hardly anybody uses it, but it's pretty good for the colorblind as well. So there's the normal palette. There's for the folks who don't see the green as well, works pretty good. And so I encourage you guys to play with colors and try and find palettes that work. Another shout out to the data fam out there. Zach created this one right before I was doing the Atlanta Tableau talk on this subject. And I gave him a shout out and said, that's great, I love it. And he's like, oh no, he's going to get me for the colors. And I'll say, no, you actually allowed us when we worked with it. Oh, this is the red, this is the yellow, this is that. So you gave us those cues to help us know which was which. So again, there's lots of tools out there, but I encourage you guys to use a good template that will show the difference. For fun, I like to kid my students, some people know all those colors by name. Some of us just know red, purple, pink, orange. That's all we know. That's all we're going to be able to see. The spectrums between all of those are just going to blend in, and we're not going to really be able to see the difference. So again, there's lots of research out there to show you that it's not red and green. One of my favorite ones, though, is to point out, if you're colorblind, camouflage doesn't work. So when you use camouflage with somebody who sees color, then they have trouble seeing what's camouflaged. But those of us who don't see color, we can actually see the things that are camouflaged better. So we had a test. They went out and saw it, and they were able to find those camouflage things, whereas the people that saw color normally could not see them. So again, read up on this. There's some interesting things. There's some illusions. Here you go. You guys will tell me those are red strawberries because you've learned that's red. They're actually just green strawberries. There's no red in that red. So color throws you off quite a bit. And those of us who don't see color struggle. Let me rip to my conclusions for you guys. Use both colors and symbols like Zach did. This is red, this is orange. Help clue us in. Keep it minimal. 25 colors, no. 15 colors, no. Even 10 colors, don't use it as much. 3, 5 colors. we can see that. Or put a pattern on your color to help us tell the difference between the green, the what is it, orange and brown. Again, colorblind. Some people play with hues. Hues don't work that well to change the color, so be careful there. And again, if nothing else, it's not red and green. It's blue and purple. It's green and blue. It's light green and yellow. We can't tell the difference. So here's some overall. Don't rely on just the color. Keep it limited colors. Use some textures, a cue, Vision tooltip, whatever. Help us to know which ones you're doing, and try and stay away from those. Another shout out to Ken. Another one that he did looking at folks trying to buy tickets to the theater. And for those of us that are colorblind, yeah, which tickets are free, which tickets are not. Very hard to see. So there are some good folks out there doing some cool stuff with colors. These are the 3 colors for next year: Lush Lava, Aqua Mint, and Phantom Blue. Those are the 3 colors trending across the world. You can go to different countries and see which colors do they prefer, which colors they like. Lots of stuff out there, lots of tools. I took you through 206 slides. No, 205 slides. Here are the 2 tools that I use quite a bit to bring an image in and see how it looks to the colorblind, and bring in an entire URL and a website and interact with it and see what it's like for different colorblindness. Those are out there. There are tons of really good Tableau tutorials on creating palettes, and I would love for you guys to create a palette, run it through these tools, come up with really good ones that look good through the tool, and post them out there. So here's what I did for you guys is I created a short URL. So you just go out to https://bit.ly/ and then it's 2 uppercase Y, lowercase j, uppercase O. That's an uppercase I, uppercase K, uppercase K. You can grab all 208 slides, play with them, try them out, send me questions. Would love to do a session going more in depth in any of these areas that folks might find interesting. At the next TC, Andy and I can get together and have a magic show runoff, see who can do more illusions and throw you guys off. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on my email. And again, if you want to start playing with all these slides and testing your colleagues and whatnot, I wanted to put them out there. And the video of this will be great. I'll continue to point to this when people talk about color and how we process it as a place to go and see. And I'm way over on my time, but luckily we had a buffer in between. 208 slides. Thanks, folks. I loved being a part of Fringe Fest, and I hope somewhere in all that madness, I've made you pause and think about this. Hope you'll go out and try a couple of the better tools that are out there. And I look forward to future presentations, because I could dig into Tableau and show you what to do in Tableau, but we got much better Zins that can take you into Tableau and say, based on Kevin's ideas, run with this. Thanks so much.
Wow, that was amazing. There was a whole lot of colorful magic in there. For me, there were a couple of points where you were really effective in showing how impacted people are. I think with the steak and how rare or well done it was. Like, which one? We don't know. And if we like steak, we know that you either have a setting. You either like rare or you like well done. And if you like rare, you do not, like, you want to know it's rare. You'll send it back if not. That, and then the lab test with like the pink liquid. Like, I think I know I got that wrong, and I think some other people did as well. Like that could be like a life or death kind of situation there if you don't know which one is pink.
Yes,
So,
yes. I take lots of medicine, and my medicine has different colors, and I'm like, color, really? That's how you're going to make me tell the difference? No. Give me another clue. Put a line on there. Put a stamp on there. Something to tell the difference. So again, I tried to pull out some of the favorite ones that people mislead with. I tried to pull out some of my favorite ones that really illustrate it, and just tried to pull a ton of resources together to get folks started. And then I really look forward to interacting with folks and helping them get better with their colors.
well, and I think Kevin Flairledge said, I just sent you a Twitter message. I need some help. So you have really captivated us today. Thank you so much. This was so great. And
Thanks,
yes, and
thanks for having me.
yeah, thanks for providing the 208 slides. It didn't even feel like it.
No, that's my second longest presentation. I actually have a longer one, but that one is a 6-hour presentation.
Oh, all right then. Okay, we are going to take a short break and we will be back at 11 a.m. Eastern to have our first panel of the day, Data Plus Women. So stay tuned.